that was one of the ideas that so like Half Wheel, who does like cigar reviews and stuff, every year there's PCA, which is in New Orleans now. It was in Vegas for a long time. But Half
I
Wheel
asked them why,
goes,
and apparently it's because it's the only place they could get over 1,000 people to smoke indoors legitimately.
that and the union at the venue in Vegas, it was getting just absolutely ridiculous. Like they had to pay to get somebody just to set up like an extension cord, or if you wanted to hang a banner, you had to pay an exorbitant amount of money because union guys had to get their scissor lift and hang the banner. And
we used to take you out back and
it was
beat with a rubber hose, but now you've got your goddamn unions.
It's from what because there a couple years ago, like the last year or two that they did it in Vegas, there was all these vendors saying we're not going because it's just too expensive. Like we can't justify it. It's insane. Like the setup stuff, like they're reaming us left and right. So they ended up moving to New Orleans. But Half Wheel, which is a review website, cigar review website, but they review accessories and cutters and lighters and stuff too. But every year they set up, and so they go to the different vendors and booths and do a little snippet of what they've got planned for the year and things like that. So and that was an idea that I had I wanted to do something like that at Daytona. Because it's short clips. Some of them are 5 minutes, some of them are like 30 seconds. It depends on whatever that brand's got going on at the time. But I had the idea of I thought it would be really cool to do something like that at Daytona. Go and film a couple short ones, take it back to like the Reptiles Express booth or somewhere where I could set up my computer and drop those files real quick, and then load my camera back up and go do it again. With some other ones. Those are sort of not necessarily in real time, but like throughout the day, uploading this stuff. And I still want to do it at some point. It hasn't. I don't know. It just hasn't been.
And then so that guy you said was Wagon Wheel, or what was it?
Half Wheel.
Half Wheel. So is that worth watching for tobacco enthusiasts?
Yeah.
Or is it kind of like social media cheesy?
No. I mean, they're
influencer cheesy.
Okay. No, not at all. They've kind of become sort of the main review place.
It's like Cigar Aficionado, but for like the 21st century.
Yeah. I mean, one of the guys in particular that runs it comes off as kind of pretentious. The other two guys seem okay, but for the most part, I mean, it's good. Like they do their own top 25 of the year at the end of each year, but the issue with that is like they include Cubans and like limited run stuff that very few people can actually get their hands on, which I always thought that was dumb. If you're going to do like a top 25 list, like it should be like regular production, available in most of the market. Like,
you can't even say North American
and not stuff that they only made 10 boxes of, like just stuff like that. To me, it's just goofy. Like,
I feel like you mentioned this before.
Yeah, because Cigar Aficionado has done the same thing. I mean, they have their own separate list for Cubans, but there's some stuff that just I was like, why is that included? Like, Year of the Snake, Drew Estate stuff, where it's like that's literally they made only so many boxes of those, and then they weren't even available in U.S. markets. It was available overseas. Like, why are you even including that in the list when most people won't even be able to get their hands on it? I don't know. It's just goofy stuff.
I get it, man.
But what are you smoking?
Well, I'm finishing a Last Call Maduro. I started it and I've been off and on for the past hour. But tonight I'm treating myself to something I never had before. I've got a Placencia Almafuerte.
Ooh, is that the green or the black
band?
That's
the green, and it's a true hexagon.
It's the natural, yep.
Yeah, so you want to tell people about this natural hexagon? Because you're going to, or do you want me to tell them?
I mean, you can. Those are really good. So Placencia puts out good stuff. There is a newer one they just came out with that's got like a blue band.
Okay.
And it was like $25. It is 1,000% not worth the money.
Really?
Don't.
How much should this be?
Those I think we have at the shop for $20.
Okay, good. Perfect. It was conveyed.
20.
Okay, it was conveyed to me that the hexagon it's obviously box press, but into an actual hexagon, right?
Mm-hmm.
To promote airflow on the draw so that you get more flavor, more aroma, but doesn't necessarily heat up as much. And it was constructed, and it was rolled a particular way to help the 6-sided box press.
I mean, I don't think I've had one of those burn weird on me.
Okay.
They are good. I find that as you're smoking it, basically those corners and points, just because it expands, like it just turns into a round regular cigar as you're smoking it. So I don't know
really?
if there's any truth to that. It's just a good cigar, and if you see one, I recommend it. I think I like the black label one a little bit better. That's the natural, I believe.
Yeah, this is the natural.
And the black one, off the top of my head, it's not a Maduro, but there's something different. I don't remember what. But Placencia makes good stuff. Another kind of funny thing about them too is I think their best stuff is also the cheapest stuff they put out. They have that Reserva. Tighten this down because this thing keeps moving. Is like a $9-10 smoke, and that's better than most of their expensive ones, in my opinion. But all the Alma stuff is good. Alma del Campo, as far as that line goes, is probably my favorite. It's got a gray and white band. Flavor wise, I think that's the most unique out of the bunch. If you want something that's much more sort of in your face and up front, the Alma Fuerte is definitely the strong arm of the group. The natural in that one and the black label, much more sort of evenly balanced and consistent, but still pretty smooth, good smoke. So
yeah, man, I've only had a couple, and I'm excited. The shop that I've been going to, Cigar Grail, selfless plug, they're online. Cigar Grail, like the Holy Grail. Do they have such a crazy selection, and they have a whole Placencia section. And honestly, I think I've smoked one of the 10 different sticks they got on the wall. So this will be number 2, and
next time
I'm excited.
Get that Alma del Campo, and then like I said, if they have that blue label one, I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but I got it sort of having the expectations that it would be in the same sort of ballpark as those that you have. And it's more expensive than those. I think it's a more limited run production. It's not a regular production thing. Maybe they do it once or twice a year. I don't know, but I was not impressed. I was actually pretty let down by it. But
all right, well, I'm gonna try it. We're gonna kick into it. What are you smoking?
I haven't had me a Jaime Garcia.
Ooh, look at that shield. I love that band.
This is from my father. Jaime Garcia stuff is strong. There's the regular like Maduro, and then there's a Connecticut. I will die on the hill that the Connecticut and the Jaime Garcia has no business existing. This blend does absolutely not jive with the Connecticut wrapper. Like it just does not. It doesn't. I don't know why they bothered putting out a Connecticut version of this. It just does not work. It's literally like, what's the best way to explain it?
It's like wheat bread on peanut butter and jelly. Peanut butter and jelly should be white bread.
It just doesn't fit. It just it just doesn't work. This is a strong cigar. This is a strong blend. It's meant to be strong. You put a light wrapper on something like that, like a blend like that, and it's fighting against itself. I don't know. Like when I've smoked one or two of them, and I didn't get it. I was like, why? This seems so unnecessary. I was like, why are we bothering? I don't know. But Jaime Garcia, the Maduros are fantastic. Sometimes you'll get a box of them and they taste a little off. You get a box of these where they're good, kind of like the CAO Brazilias. You get a good box of Jaime Garcias, dude. They are fantastic.
Oh,
but if you have a bad box or a off box, then it's a little rough. But I don't know which one.
Speaking of CAO, I've never been a CAO guy. Just wasn't my thing. Really not a big Brazil guy. It just wasn't my thing. But I got turned on to Amazon Basin. Man, what a great little stick. What a great quick smoke, relatively quick smoke, no band, just a cigar smoker's cigar, man.
Oh, did you get the little ones?
I got the little ones, yeah, in the little brown box.
Yeah,
almost like a giant cigarette.
Yeah, we have the Toros of those, and I think Raj was selling them for like 17 a piece, but now they're up to I think 20 or something. But those are very good. It's a very good
Yeah.
cigar. For the most part, I've actually been happy with a lot of CAO stuff. Some of the flatheads, I think they just came out with a Habano in the flathead, if I'm not mistaken, and it was like, eh. But most of the CAO stuff, like the branded stuff, is pretty good. The Potomac is a nice one. Brasilia, there's a couple others. Colombia. I really haven't had any that I've been all that let down by. Like I said, that newer one, and maybe it's because it was a fresh box and it just got opened, and I went ahead and said, smoke it. Usually, I try to give stuff a little bit of time before I grab it if it's new in the shop. Try to give it a week or two to kind of air out some before I jump right in and start smoking them. Because if you just grab one straight out of an unopened, like a freshly opened box, like I don't know. Usually they taste a little off. And there's a couple brands I've noticed where you really need to let them sit for a little while before you jump into them. I think Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust stuff is a good example of that, because if you get any of Saka's stuff, who makes those, I've had them like fresh out the box, plastic wrap taken off, stickers cut open, like fresh opened, smoked them straight out the box, and they were not as good. But if you let them sit for a little while, like give them some time to breathe, makes a world of difference. And I don't find that to be the case with a lot of brands, but I think with some of the some of them, I try to give them the benefit of the doubt if I'm smoking them for the first time and it's like fresh out of box. So
it's good advice, man. Good advice. You know what I didn't know is that my buddies were showing me that apparently some cigar brands that have been hiding Boveda packs underneath the cedar in the box. I had no idea. And like, dude, I feel like that's a game changer, man.
Well, you got to think some of these things are sitting in those boxes for so long on shelves. Yeah. I mean, granted, they are sealed up in plastic wrap, and they're sealed with the most boxes with either a nail or a big sticker that goes over, 3 sides of the top and the sides and stuff. But I mean, they are sitting in that box for a while before they actually hit the shelves and get opened. And I don't know. I found Rocky Patel does that with a lot of his stuff, but it helps. Most of them seem to be bone dry by the time you get to them and open them, the Boveda packs themselves. But it's at least gives them a little bit of life.
Yeah, for sure.
In transit and being shelved, and so I don't know.
Yeah, man. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Well, how's first impression?
These Jaimes hit right.
Nice. Yeah, this last call, man. I have not had this particular. I can't remember which Maduro. This is one of 2 or 3 Maduros I have now, but I was not impressed in the beginning, and it took almost half the stick for it to quote unquote get good. But I feel like it was an enjoyable smoke for multitasking. Mm-hmm. Like while I set the computer up and the microphone stand and all that crap. Yeah.
Something you can ignore,
Yeah, exactly. I'm not savoring it. I'm just going with the flow. So
well, this episode is brought to you by Full Face Apparel, fullfaceapparel.com. Just added some stuff to the site last night. Spent the better half of the day procrastinating, and then the other half of the day actually getting stuff done, making mock-ups, getting new things added, new stuff in the in-situ line, some new hat options, and I'm not finished with it all yet. I still have more stuff to add. Maybe this weekend, we'll see. I don't know. So be on the lookout for that. In the meantime, use the code THN at checkout and get 15% off your order. That is the exclusive promo code for THN listeners and viewers like you. And then as soon as you're done shopping around for shirts and hats and all that good stuff, you hop on over to blackboxcages.com and get you a rack or a cage, maybe both. Best you can get. Incredible craftsmanship, build quality is outstanding.
Especially if you're keeping Venomous.
Especially if you're keeping Venomous. Which is what we are planning to get into tonight, is Venomous caging. Because I know we've talked about it a little bit over the years off and on, but I was like thinking about it at work today. I was like, we haven't actually like gone through.
And it's always good to have refreshers, even for myself.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I was thinking about it too, like given that Neodacias aren't really available anymore, except secondhand, which I always loved those. Personally, that's my favorite as far as keeping venomous stuff. It's not going to work for everything, but for the most part, I loved it. But I figured we kind of go through what's currently available now and sort of pros and cons of those and all that good stuff. So if you're not keeping anything venomous, or maybe you are, you're shopping around for cages and wrecks, blackboxcages.com, go check them out. And then the best coffee around, cold-blooded caffeine, Snakes and Stogies blend. We're biased, but it's good. Mexico and Rwanda together in a bag. Use the code SMOKE at checkout, and that should get you 10% off your order. And then we get a little something. The Rainforest Alliance gets a little something, and Cold-Blooded Caffeine gets a little something. So everybody wins. And our blend and many, many, many others to choose from. A ton. So many. Too many to list. But something for the discerning palate. Something for everybody.
It's good. It's good. Put that on a shirt. Something for the discerning palate. Yes.
Just have a bunch of different cobras.
Yes. Oh, that's a great idea. Or just silhouettes of different pattern coral snakes, all grayscale, but just the different patterns. Yeah. Something for the discerning palate. Yes. Ah, our friends from down under, the Ipers, have joined the group chat.
They've crawled out from under their outback rock, from their bloomin' onion.
From their uru. And this is the best keeping is venomous keeping when done responsibly.
Scott said he's done playing with his boomerang.
Yes.
He's coming to join us.
Indubitably, yes.
Should we talk like that this whole episode?
I don't know. Nipper would probably kill me. Yeah.
He'll be okay.
Yeah.
I tried to convince Katie to hunt him down when she was across the pond.
She didn't hit him up at all?
No. She was like, where does he live? I was like, I mean, I know where he lives, but I don't know like where he lives. It's like,
yeah, I mean, he works in London, so like obviously London's a big city.
It's a big ass city, dude.
Yeah, but it's not like she's in London and he's in, I don't know, fucking Dublin or something, a different country, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. She was busy. They were, traveling by bus and train. Yeah. They didn't have an Uber or anything, and even if they did, God help those people, because I don't know how she would do driving on the other side of the road and the opposite side of the car, like
using the tube.
Yeah. Anything new down yonder?
Temps are fully up. Humidity is where I'd like it to be, right around 46% right now, even though it's like 96% outside. Actually, let's compare. Let us consult the Goofy. Yes. So
Scott said, well, you said venomous keeping, so like Beetlejuice, I just fucking appear.
That is so true. So true. We love you, Scott. So Desert Room is currently 7. Yes, the Hypers. Venomous Desert Room is 75 degrees Fahrenheit, 46% humidity. Outside where I'm sitting right now is 73 degrees Fahrenheit and 84% humidity. Yeah, so it's 84 outside, 46 inside. I'm fucking trying, man. I'm fucking trying. And it's crazy because I've been trying to mist the desert scorpions, like just a little nothing crazy, just to kind of simulate some dew at random. I've been doing that every other week, and I like it because it does elevate the humidity, and I do notice them wandering around more at night. But it also wets the sand a little bit, which makes it compact a little bit. And I've been getting some really cool burrowing observations through Crassicauda and Australis. So, and the baby Transvalicus are getting huge.
I was going to say, there can't really be babies anymore, can they?
I would call them yeah. And dude, they have not slowed down. They are little meth heads. So I'm still doing a container inside of a container. I'm still not touching anything with my hands because I just don't trust them to fly out. But I am really, really enjoying raising Parabuthus. I've only kept wild caught adults, and I always found them rewarding. But dude, having babies and watching them grow and watching them fatten up and then molt and then fatten up again because they're eating and like, dude, just they're adorable. I love those little bastards. And I fed Mike Gillen Subak, slammed down a fuzzy,
Yeah.
doing good. And man, other than that, status quo, you know, no news is good news. So, and yourself, sir?
Well, speaking of scorpions, I woke up this morning and was like, what is that female eating? My 2.2 Margaritatis, right? And so I go and look at the tub, and she had a brood.
Oh no!
But I guess, for lack of a better word, aborted it.
Okay.
And was just eating the eggs and like mostly developed slings.
Okay.
I don't know what could have caused that because I mean I feed them pretty regularly. Try to mist them down, at least once a week. So I don't know. Maybe there's just something wrong, and she just knew, just like when spiders eat a egg sac or something. Surely they can tell something's not right. And
damn.
Came back and checked after when I got home from work, and most of it was gone. So she ate pretty much all of it. So
oh wow.
Which I mean, at least she got something out of it, because that stuff's usually pretty nutrient dense, because it had to be for her to be able to, make it happen. So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. The other female still looks like she's going to pop, but those things, dude, the gestation on those is unreal.
Yeah.
Because I think I paired those, put them together 6 months ago.
Okay.
It's a ridiculously long time for a
have you looked up the actual gestation?
Yeah, it's like 6
okay
months. Yeah, it's wild. It's so weird.
It's like a Gaboon Viper.
Probably would have been a little faster, if I kept them warmer. But I don't know. It's weird, interesting to see. It's weird.
Yeah, man. I mean, it sucks to have her do that, but obviously there's a reason. Obviously she's handling it, and at least now you know that she is capable of producing, and that you have a pair. So that's great news. I would definitely mark that in the calendar and observe her a little more over the next coming weeks.
I'll have to message Brandon Russell and ask him.
Yeah,
he would know. Maybe it's because that male was in there and she was like, I ain't having babies with you around, bro.
It could very well be.
I don't know. We'll see. But I got a so we were supposed to have Flippin' 10 Thursday,
right?
But Sky and Gabe could not, so we're doing it this week.
Cool.
But while we were out and about looking around, I found some Scolopendra viridis, little
nice
blues.
Yeah.
Found 3 of them.
Okay. Hell yeah.
Put them in the deli cups with the little punched holes in the sides.
Oh, dude.
And I have 2 centipedes.
Nice. Did you completely dump out the entire container and sift through?
And around. So
it's probably dead in a wall somewhere.
I don't know. Its head was popping out the hole, and I was like, it can't fit the rest of its body through that. I don't know how
Bro,
I have to learn this lesson.
What is wrong with you, dude? God, brother.
I know.
I mean, at least it's like a quasi native, you know what I mean? Like, we
get them up here. Look, we
do
get them up here.
All right, so it's not the end of the world. It just
it's not that.
Yeah, it's not lethal. It's not gonna hurt the pets. It's not gonna hurt Ellie.
It was the smallest one of the 3.
Yeah.
So it was small, but
damn.
Got the other 2, and I was like, well, in the meantime, until I can figure out a solution to this, let me keep those other 2 delis in another container, so that if the other 2 figure it out and climb out of those holes, they're at least contained in something.
Yeah.
The next morning, lo and behold, middle child of the 3 in the tub, out of the cup, just chilling. And I'm like, oh my God. So
I'm on, bro.
So I was like, Phil King, not you.
Yeah.
Like, he's Centipede boy.
Yeah.
I was like, why did you convince me to do this? I saw him and I was like, this would be cool. These are small. They're blue. Phil would appreciate it. And he was like, dude, you got to keep them in something super tall. And I'm like, that just kind of looks dumb, because I got that much substrate in a container that's like this.
Yeah.
And, I finally I cohabbed them because I found all three of these under like the same piece of tin, more or less. So I was like, they should be fine together. I feel like if there's going to be a communal species, it'll be those and the little red pine bark centipedes we have. Because there's been times where I've peeled bark and found like 4 of those things hanging out together. So I have these. They're cool. Whether or not they end up staying here full time is to be seen. They may take a trip up north.
Wow.
Because Phil's really pushing for me to get like real centipedes, and I'm like, this is it, dude. I'm good. Like this and blue, that's cool. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
This and like black or red and fast and gigantic, like
and potentially lethal.
Pass.
Yeah, hard pass.
I was like, I was seeing these things run around, dude. I was like, why would I want a 12-inch version of this?
Yeah.
It's like,
dude, could you imagine like prehistoric times when they were like 9 feet long? Crazy.
Not.
Yeah. We used to just packing tape the whole perimeter of the tub and then put air holes on top. And by air holes, I mean insulin needle, just insulin needle in the top of the plastic, and that was it.
Well, I was all proud because I got some like reindeer moss and stuff while we were out and about, and like
dude, reindeer moss is adorable.
I made a nice like sandy soil mix. Like I was like, I need to make it look like
something loomy,
southeastern, like Florida-ish,
loomy staghorn moss,
sandhill type, you know.
For sure.
And then I put a piece of bark in there thinking like they'll hang out under the bark. They don't. They just burrow. They just go into the dirt. So I don't know. I saw him. Sanchez was like, dude, check these out, because Sanchez was with us. You know, he was egging me on, going, dude, get them, take them. And these weren't from the National Forest.
Yeah, of course.
Private property, just so everybody knows.
Yes.
They're freaking gorgeous, though. I will say that. Like, they really are a pretty bug. I mean, they're freaking blue, dude. Like,
nice.
They're pretty neat. But so that's been interesting. And then I have a box coming from Phil and our buddy Mike tomorrow.
Okay.
With a immature male P Metallica for my female. And some other odds and ends. Honestly, they haven't even told me what some of the other stuff is. I have no idea what it is. I know what some of it is, but there's some mystery stuff in there, so we'll see.
Love little surprises like that.
When you see Scolopendra catching frogs and lizards and running on wet roads at night, just obliterating anything their size or smaller is impressively frightening. Yeah, dude. I don't.
Yeah, pretty much.
Phil King's an absolute maniac.
Yeah, he's a sociopath. Yeah, we love him.
Because he texted me today because he's packing up a second box to send. And he's like, you sure you don't want any centipedes? And I'm like, yeah, I've seen how fast even the tiny ones move, dude, and tiny ones turn into big ones. And I got a limit on the number of legs I'm willing to deal with. I appreciate centipedes for what they are. Like, they're cool as an organism.
Not for me.
Not for me.
Not for me.
Hey, if that's
shout out
what,
Jonah Hill.
That's what,
not for me.
If that's what rustles his jimmies, then by all means, he can KOA the fucking night away. You know,
nice.
Other than that, I put a pair of Ladies Island corns together. Spent a good 45 minutes to an hour the other night peeling Crispy, the resident chondro with the chronic shed issues all the time. I have not had that snake a day, and he not have a bad shed going on. Doesn't matter what I do. I've hydrated him. I've loaded food up with water. I've done all the things to try and stop it. And I'm thinking he just got like snake eczema or something, dude. It's something genetic. I don't know, but that dude is. I call him Crispy because he's always fucking crispy, dude. He's like, I feel so bad for the poor bastard. I left him in a tub full of sphagnum moss for like 48 hours over the weekend just to see if that could help loosen some of it up. And it did a little bit, and he hated it, but I always feel bad having to do it. But I was like, dude, this is getting out of hand. Like, fix yourself.
Yeah. And it's almost, it sucks when it's chronic like that, because like in my mind, you want to like lather him up in coconut oil just to give his ass a helping hand, but it won't help because it's dehydration and oils under the skin. And, you know, you can lead a conjure to water, but you can't make it drink, you know?
Yeah, I finally just downgraded him to a much smaller setup with a bigger water bowl. Like, he had a big water bowl in the Cambro rack, but I decided to downgrade him to, it's like a 20-something quart with just a very large water bowl in there. And I put him up on top of another rack, sort of by the only window in the room, so it gets a little warmer up there, and maybe it'll help sort of, you know, I don't know. Gave him a mouse yesterday, which he took after trying to bite me like 3 times, which was nice to see because usually he's fairly just defeated in like Eeyore and just kind of like, don't leave me alone.
Yeah.
You know, so he had a little bit of pep in his step, which was nice, but otherwise he's fine. Like, he eats fine and everything. He got dandruff. He's dandruffy.
Ashy. He's an ashy chondro.
He's rough, dude.
Yeah.
So the 5 what? Scott, I can't read this shit. My eyes are getting worse. Said, if the snake is chronically ill and the husbandry is on point, you need to consider application of the 5 freedoms. Is that what that says? Can you read that?
Yeah, it looks like freedoms.
This is America. I know everything about
Yeah.
freedom. No, Scott.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this is like 5 different versions of euthanasia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm waiting for the
He's
paragraph
not
response.
chronically ill. He's not, doesn't have a respiratory or anything like that. He just
Yeah, I do. I've had plenty of snakes that their bowel movements looked fantastic. Their urates were good. Their skin always looked great. They just sucked at shedding, you know? And like, it would always be the chin and like patchy body. The tail was always fine. The vent was always fine. I never had eye cap issues.
See, that's always my biggest concern. And usually if I'm having a peel, that's the first thing I'm going for, is making sure the eye caps and the tail tips are good. Because on chondros especially, dude, that tail tip will get necrotic real quick and just, fall off. But he needs to cleanse himself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka.
Lake Minnetonka.
Yeah, and that's like probably next weekend I will I'll probably just soak him in some water for overnight. That seems to help a good bit too. Just trying to sort of get him back to 0 so that we can play this game again in a couple of weeks, you know?
Yeah.
Why not?
It's cool. It's good.
Google the 5 freedoms. Scott said I'm
It's okay. We're doing a live show. Are you doing it right now?
I mean, I'm going to look. I'm kind of afraid. Is it 5-finger death punch?
Yeah.
Oh, the 5 freedoms. I'm assuming this is what he's talking about. Freedom from hunger and thirst. Freedom from discomfort. Freedom from pain, injury, or disease. Freedom to express normal behavior. Freedom from fear and distress.
So
the chondros will never get away from the freedom of hunger and thirst because they're fucking always hungry.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've heard of those tenets.
Yeah, I've actually never heard of those. So educational. I like it. Placencia is very airy in a good way. it's crisp, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't taste or smell like celery, but like the crispness of like fresh crunch. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
No.
Yeah.
I can't
It's
say
very
it does.
crisp. It is.
Hmm.
Yeah, what do I know?
Well, as we mentioned before, we figured we'd kind of talk about venomous caging this round. Again, sort of thinking about it while I was at work today, of like what's stuff that we just haven't really delved more into. And that was, I think, one of them. Like, we've talked about some aspects and some parts of it off and on, but never something sort of together in a cohesive episode. But I'm curious to get Phil's thoughts on the ways one goes about using some of the currently available options, because I've seen people do it. Whether they're ideal or not, I guess there's a lot of variables at play here. I think, like, your living situation, how many people you're living with, who you're living with, general standard protocol as far as like locks and doors with locks and things like that, and signage and everything else. So all that sort of, I guess, to the side. Where I don't know where you even want to start. Like, I mean,
I think
first thought is, go ahead.
No. Your first thought, go on.
My first thought is like Exos.
Well, I wasn't gonna. I'm with you. That's a good first jumping off point, but I want to start with the foundation of the room itself.
Yes.
First of all, if you're not allowed to have animals in your condo or apartment or whatever, then you probably shouldn't keep deadly animals. Just my own personal thought. I'm not telling you how to live your life. I'm just saying that appropriate signage needs to be in place, because God forbid there's a fire or a a flood of some kind or something bad, catastrophic to the building structure, and you're not home. Emergency personnel needs to be aware that there is lethal critters up in that place. Yes, and what I am reading on the screen right now, Justin talking about safe and secure caging is laughable at best. Thank you, Jason Keller. Yes.
Just such a bitch.
Yeah. Duly noted, Mr. Keller. 1 point for you, sir.
I didn't say I would be discussing the various venomous caging methods.
Yeah. So going back to the room itself, does
Time
that?
Can
yes.
we let the record show that I have kept venomous before, and I never had any issues with any of these getting out because I was keeping them in locked cages.
It's a good point. Good point. Stenographer, did you get all that?
I'm just putting that out there.
Let the courtroom show that Smitty has kept venomous reptiles responsibly with zero escapes and or incident.
Yes.
Thank you, members of the court. Yeah, I think it starts with the room. I do. I feel like it starts with the room and having appropriate signage on the door to the room. Now, if your venomous room is your bedroom, I would say do everything in your power to not have it be your bedroom, not because you're sleeping in the room with venomous snakes, but because you're constantly going in and out of your bedroom. And if you can dedicate or allocate space in an office or a spare bedroom or something, it would behoove you to put the signage on that door saying, danger of venomous reptiles inside or something. It doesn't have to be tacky. It can be something aesthetically pleasing. And it should be locked. It should. There's no reason why it shouldn't. Especially, let's not even talk about children in the home, but like assuming you don't have children and they are not a factor, it would behoove you to lock said room. I'm also a very firm proprietor, I guess, proponent, regardless of my vernacular. I want the room escape proof. I do. And if I physically can't make it escape proof and it's not a requirement by law like it is in Florida, I'm going to do everything in my power to make it as best I can. I'm going to put a door sweep on the door so that, and I'm not talking about a foam one that you slide in to keep the warmth.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about an actual screwed in bolt on door sweep that's measured appropriately with a replaceable rubber fin or gasket, so that as the doors open and close over and over, years down the line, months down the line, when that rubber starts to fray and deteriorate, it can be removed and replaced relatively easily. I'm also a very, very much in favor of screening air vents. What does that mean? Well, the air vent that your air conditioner blows out of, you take the vent off the ceiling or off the floor, depending on how your house is built up. You get some mesh screening that is non-slither throughable, and you place it over the hole, and then push the vent back on top and screw the vent back in. And then you leave some excess screen around the perimeter of it. You just cut it with scissors to show that that screen is there, because it's usually dark in the vents and you can't really see the screen per se. But if you see that little frayed edge around it, now you know that there is screening there if you are getting inspected by Fish and Wildlife and such. I also like to put night locks on windows. What is a night lock? Some windows have a secondary lock. That way you can't just open the window. I like to purchase these little, like, letter C metal brackets with a wing nut, and it goes on the windowsill and it screws down and it physically prevents you from being able to open the window. That is in case someone tries to come in from the outside. If they, for whatever reason, try to jimmy that window open, they will not be able to. At the same time, if for whatever reason you have roommates or spouse or whatever, and they want to open a window, it's a reminder to them that there is a venomous reptile in that room and they should not open said window. Those two are big deals. The lock on the door should be a key lock from the outside of the room, not the inside of the room. And it should also be a door knob or some kind of apparatus where, God forbid, you're injured within the room, you can open the door easily from the inside so as to not lock yourself in there away from safety, if that makes sense.
And walk-in freezers.
Correct. You don't want to lock yourself in there and have an incident. So yeah, that being said, I don't like it in the bedroom simply because you're constantly going in and out of the bedroom. Whether you have a dog or cats, they're going in and out of there all the time. You're going in and out of there all the time. You leave it open haphazardly because, oh, I just ran to the kitchen to grab my beverage, or, oh, I just ran to the laundry room to get a basket of laundry. And it shouldn't be like that. That door you need to have more responsibility on that door to that venomous room. Excuse me. And rant. So, Smitty, Exoterrors.
Well, I have Sanchez now saying Smitty herps for Alterna in the living room.
That is funny and true. It's true.
I'm never going to be able to live this down.
Alterna are not lethal, and therefore don't apply.
I can speak to the door sweep thing, though. Given my experience in such manners, that door sweep makes life way easier when you know that whoever is out is contained to that room and likely in the snake room closet. So, which is a whole adventure in itself, because my snake room closet is a disaster.
Duly noted.
It's just one of the cheap door sweeps from Lowe's.
Yeah,
Probably
man.
not something I would use for Venomous in a Venomous room.
Do you know how much my door sweep was?
It does the job.
My door sweep was $9.95.
Mine's just got the 2 foam bars.
Yep, it was $9.95. It's aluminum with a removable, replaceable rubber gasket, and it is screwed into the aluminum door with aluminum screws. So easily repaired, easily replaced. Yeah,
very nice.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean exos. So like I've seen a lot of people use exos in a lot of different contexts. You know, I know some professional facilities use them sort of in their back rooms behind the scenes, some zoos and things like that. I want to like them more for Venomous than I do. I feel like they are an option. I don't know that they're necessarily like the best option from a multitude of standpoints. I don't know how you feel like the ability to lock them sort of with a traditional lock. I mean, you see the ones that have like the wire locks. I don't know what you would actually call them. That have like
it's a wire lock.
Is it a wire lock?
Yeah, wire lock.
So I don't know. Like, where do you?
So I would never. Okay.
Because I guess there's also a lot of context in terms of like what we're talking about is being kept in them.
Yeah.
Like I would feel much more comfortable using an EXO for like a Schleg than I would Mambas or any other faster moving like very different context.
Oh yeah.
So
let's break down let's break down the pros of an EXO first, and then I'm gonna dive into the cons because there's way more cons. The pros are they're aesthetically pleasing. They look great. They're uniform. They're shelf. I'll call it shelf stackable. They're sexy. And when we say EXO, we don't just mean Exoterra. We also mean Zoomed. We also mean
the glass front
Zilla. Yeah, we mean a black plastic frame glass enclosure with front opening glass doors or acrylic doors with a removable screen top and some kind of substrate dam at the bottom with air vents in the front of the cage for cross ventilation. Though they are very aesthetically pleasing, they're easy to clean, they're easy to disassemble for major maintenance. They are incredibly unsafe and incredibly dangerous for Venomous. The first things first is the vents in the front are totally fine. No snake, doesn't matter how long the Gaboon Viper's fangs are, whatever. It's not going to be able to bite through those vents. However, spitting, it's going to go right through. That is a fact. I've seen it happen. It was baby red spitting cobra and shot right through the front with the spray. The locking mechanism, as Smitty was saying, the little braided wire lock, little baby cable lock. That's great for the pet shop. That's great for keeping kids out of your dumpy tree frog enclosure. That's not good for Venomous. I would do some kind of actual minute. They make these little tiny padlocks with really long stems. You could slide those through. But the biggest problem is not that little lock in the front. The problem is the fact that the top of the doors are free to open. And most Venomous keepers will tape that shut. Or if they can, they'll make some kind of C-clamp or wedge to pop on top where the two doors are at the very top of the glass.
Yeah.
That way, if the snake is pushing on the front doors, it can't pop and make a gap at the top to slither out the top.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually something that I just went over with Jake because Jake was using a front opening glass enclosure. And I'm pretty sure he actually went with a different model of enclosure because of that top.
Yes.
And I feel like that is overlooked by so many people as a danger point for just escape. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter if it's a milk snake, a corn snake, a python species. If it's strong enough to push the door open when it's unlocked, it's strong enough to make a gap in the top to get out the top. Earlier in the chat, Scott Eiper made notion that EXO lids are, quote, fucking terrible for Venomous. I concur wholeheartedly for two reasons. One, there's no way to lock the lid. You literally just squeeze the tabs with your fingers and the whole top of the tank comes off. It's not that big a deal if it's in a shelving type scenario, whether it be on a baker's rack or a bookshelf or something like that, because you really can't get your fingers in there to do that. Right. However, per Florida law, you must have a 2-inch gap of screen between the lid and a human touch. So on an EXO, what a lot of guys will do is they'll get a grid light diffuser. That's what is it, like a 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch, whatever it is?
Yeah, quarter.
Okay. They'll stack like 5 of those or 4 of those and make it an inch, inch and a half, whatever 2 inches, whatever it's supposed to be. They'll just glue them together, spray adhesive, whatever. And then they will tape that or zip tie it or something to the actual screen lid. So if I walk by and I lean my elbow on it because I'm not paying attention,
right,
the snake can't bite through the screen. The fangs would never reach my flesh. And that has happened to people I know where they're not paying attention. They walk in the room and they just leaning on a tank, not realizing that there's a 4-foot rattlesnake in there, and that is no bueno.
Yeah.
So that thickening of the top screen is paramount for a front opening glass, or as we call it, an exo style enclosure.
Yeah, those lids, I mean, that plastic too is pretty brittle, surprisingly brittle. Even more so if you've got lights and stuff over it over a long period of time.
Yeah.
You know, Scott also made the point of with the doors, like he hates that when you open those, doesn't seem to matter what brand, you have that very decent gap between that side wall, like that side layer of glass and the door itself opening. Like those Chapala garters I have, dude, like when I go to like take them out to feed them, because I separate them that way they don't go nuts on each other, they almost always shoot straight through that gap and onto the floor. And I'm like, it's just, it's such a big gap. Like anything, obviously barring like big adult animals, like if it's small, like it's going right through that thing.
Yeah, if it's thicker than your thumb, you're probably okay, but I'm not going to risk that. You know what I mean? I've had multiple larger Tremercerus species, multiple Boiga species that just, they see that gap and like the doors are wide open. Yeah,
weird.
Yeah, the doors are wide open. They could come straight out the front, but no, they go for that gap in the edge of the glass. That's like Scott says, 12 millimeter. I would say more, you know, and they get halfway and they go, oh, I'm out. Oh, crap. And they stop. And like, granted, you probably shouldn't have larger animals in smaller exos, but like I've had Hagenii or Pope's vipers or wagglers, not just arboreal stuff. I had rattlesnakes do it too. And cobras they're notorious for it. They go through that gap and then they go, oh crap, I'm out. And they stop. And now they're stuck in there. And you can't get them to go backwards. You can't get them to go forwards or what have you. And now you have to try and remove the animal without injuring it, you know, and it's not worth it. It's just not.
Yeah. Is there an alternative you've seen that's similar in that style that works better?
Yeah. The best one that I ever used for small arboreal venomous was when I had all my Tremercerus. I used Zilla. Because Zilla,
the single pane,
it's a single pane. It has not only a lock at the bottom, but it also has a pin lock on the bottom and a pin lock at the top. What's a pin lock, you ask? It is a plastic or metal peg that goes through two holes and physically prevents it from opening. Now, it's just gravity. It's just gravity holding the pin in there. But what I did was I put white zip ties, like little twisty ties or zip ties, and I put that through each pin. So now I can unlock the little lock with my hand, but I use hemostats to remove the pins and then open the door. So my hands are not at the actual opening of the glass. And because it is a single pane, it's much tighter than the double. So even when I opened it all the way, it still was maybe, I don't know, 3 millimeter, if that. Yeah. So I really enjoyed the Zilla. But that was, again, only, what is it? 18 by 12 by 15.
12, yeah.
Yeah. 18 by 12 by 12, something like that. So yeah, I think that if you are doing exo style or Zilla style or Zoomed style enclosures on a rack or shelf type scenario, then you can do them really, really well with Venomous, but you have to be aware of all those faults. So it's to each their own.
Again, I also think it's the context of what's inside of them.
Right.
You know, baby mambas, juvie mambas, like that's a very, very different story than you know, death adders or athers,
exactly,
or, you know, schlegs or something that's just much more sedentary and not apt to take off. You know, assuming they don't do that. Again, we've talked about the, you know, plan for A, B, and C, but also plan for, you know, the other 6 letters afterwards. Because even those animals that never do X, Y, and Z somehow end up doing X, Y, or Z at some point or another. So I don't know. It's context again, like I said. But
I mean, I kept multiple different species of Tremercerus, mostly purple maculatus, in those Zillas. I had, I don't even know, 10 of them, whatever they were, Zillas. And then I've kept Ecca species in exos. because they're not going to just fly out of the cage. You know what I mean? Equus, for the most part, will ride a hook fairly well. I've kept Lepidus in exos because, again, they're just hanging out. You know, their camouflage is their friend. But other than that, I don't think most of the animals I've kept over the years would be conducive to that. Obviously, when you work at places like Strictly and Underground and Exotic Jungle and stuff like that, you're at the mercy of whatever the company has, and you make the best of it with pin locks and light diffuser and duct tape and go from there. But if it's in your home setting, try and make it as aesthetically pleasing as possible while still being safe.
Well, in your opinion, given whether it's something that's available now or used to be, like what if you were only allowed to have one brand or one line in particular, what would that be?
Of the glass front opening?
No, just in general.
Oh, just in general. I love, it depends on the size of the animal, but I love gasket tubs for juvenile stuff because I can stack a tub within a tub. I can regulate how many air holes are there because I can always make more. It is legitimately escape proof, providing I didn't make the air holes big enough. I can make handles out of multiple different materials. I don't have to be hands-on to open the tub, but they're ugly. They're tubs, you know? So my goal is, like, I've got a bunch of Lepidus I'm raising right now. They're in gasket tubs, and I make the tub as naturalistic as I can. You've seen my tubs and how I try to deck it out with as much decor as I can within reason. The goal is eventually to put them in really pretty Zoom Ed front opening Vivaria, you know, or black box. But until they're of appropriate size, for safety reasons, as well as certain aspects of husbandry, I'm going to use gasket tubs. I am. Now, black box has changed my, like, I know they're our sponsor. I know we always talk about them all the time, and you guys know how much we love them, but their front opening lockable Vivaria is par none the best Venomous Vivs I've ever owned. They can make the air vents in the back as small as you'd like, as large as you'd like. It has built-in LED lighting with tracks for cable management. And the way they do the plexi front sliding glass, the lock is in the middle, independent. It's a key, traditional key pin style lock. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. And I'm very, very pleased with those. I want to say what's oh man, I'm gonna butcher this. What is it? 24 by 24 by 18, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. I've got 6 of them right now. I'm gonna get another 3. And then I got some time before stuff grows up to get more. But eventually I'm just gonna have a room of those. Because, like, it's more that one enclosure is more than large enough for an adult subhawk. It's more than large enough for most of my montane rattlesnakes. I have a 3-foot version of that's 36 by 18 by 24 that the Gila monster's in. And I'm probably going to get another 4 or 5 of those just for puff adders. Because they're perfect. They have just enough. They have the perfect height of a substrate dam. The glass is cut in such a way, or excuse me, the tracks for the glass is cut in such a way that unless both panes are smack dab in the middle at 12 o'clock, you can't take them out. It's brilliant. So there's no way that like, okay, one of the flaws of vision cages in a pet shop is that even if the vision cage is locked, you can still walk over and lift that glass off. Yep.
Yeah.
There's no way to fix that without doing permanent adaptation to the enclosure. You physically can't do that on a black box, especially if it's got their pin lock, because if the device is locked in the middle, you can't slide the glass to get to the middle to remove it.
Right.
And I like to think they did that on purpose, but that is freaking brilliant.
I mean, it's awfully specific for them.
Yeah.
Either that or maybe they were keeping just like larger constrictors and stuff in mind.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
yeah.
What do you prefer as far as sliders versus openers? And then if you're doing openers, do you prefer open out or open down?
So I always I'm a slider guy. I was raised and taught a slider guy. Just because of the versatility of not having to use my hands. Now, open out is only cool when it opens down. If it opens out and up, oh no, I'm not using that cage. I'm out.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, but I'm talking like standard exo style or
I would prefer exo style open towards you, opposed to flopping down, or laying down in front of you.
What purpose? Like what?
More control.
Okay.
It's easier to close a door. It's easier to close a door horizontally than have to lift a door up. It's also faster too.
Not fighting gravity.
Yeah. It's like you can slam a door in your house way easier than you trying to slam the door in your oven.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So at least that's my personal opinion. But yeah, I'm a slider guy. I've always been a slider guy. I love the fact that I can have a shield from the animal by using the opposite pane and not have to worry about it also popping open.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because if I'm using a double door exo and I'm only opening the right side, I have to use a hook or some kind of tool to keep the other door closed. Right. Otherwise, it's just going to automatically open because of gravity. It's just going to swing open. While as a sliding glass, I don't have that problem. Yeah. Now, if you look at someone like the Ipers, who I know have several fold out or fold open doors, that's great for them in their scenario because you have fast moving elapids that the animal's coming out. Like it's coming out. Like there's no, oh, we'll wait till later. Nah, it's coming out. They have a legitimate facility that is completely escape proof. The room is designed to be, God forbid a snake gets away from them, it's easy to reacquire. There's no bed or couch or anything for it to slide behind, and for that scenario where I know 100% the snake is coming out at that exact moment in time, and I'm only working with that animal at that moment in time, it's totally cool. Have it fold open, have one big pane that opens. Who cares? It's coming out. But for me, in a private sector setting, in a home room style setting, I would rather have a slider that I can A, hide behind, and B, have an easier time manipulating with just tools.
Yeah. I don't know. I think again, it's context based because when I think of those, I think of being at P and Cody's and them having some Bothrops and stuff, and they have the open down style.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And with stuff like that, dude, it was like basically they were doing some cleaning or some feeding or something, and there was either a big Atrox or maybe a Mujinai. I can't quite remember.
Okay.
But I just remember Cody saying like, everyone, y'all need to stand back a couple extra more feet because like when I open this thing, it's going to spring out like Bothrops do.
Yeah.
And I like it, but I also feel like it adds just another level, another layer of complication because it's like then it's okay. I know that I'm going to open this door. I know this animal's likely just going to come springing out. How far back do I now have to be standing extra from what I normally would? Do I need to be using a longer hook as a result because I have to use that to let that door down? Like, I like the openness of being able to access the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially if you're dealing with something sort of on the chunkier side, like, Bitis or larger Bothrops or something. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
But I also feel like there's just smaller stuff that would prevent me from wanting to use that as being the option that I go with,
Oh, for sure. And like you said it perfectly. When you have what I would call an oven opening door, if you have something like a big Dorissus, a big neotropical rattlesnake, or an eastern diamondback, or a big Bothrops, or a big gaboon, like
Sabacan.
Yeah, that is great. You got two big double hooks. You're gonna scoop that sucker up, and you have this nice, as they were say in older literature, a wide berth, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that for a cobra. I don't want that for a brown. I just like it's just gonna fly out. You know what I mean? I want to have some kind of control, unless I'm in a room like Scott's, where if it comes out, it comes out. Who cares? Or I've got too many racks and too many shelves and other things in my snake room that I don't want to have to chase the cobra through the bookshelf. So that's just me.
Scott sent some pictures. I'm about to.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, Scott and Ty's room is a fucking textbook of a room. Man. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, see, those are sliders. Front openers.
Nice.
Sweet corn snake collection, Scott.
Love your tubs, bruh.
Kidding. See, I like those too. I always like it when there's like minimal frame.
Yeah, and those are oven opening, right?
I don't know. I think those are hinges on the side.
Oh, are they?
Maybe. I don't know. I can't see if Scott's typing anything, but look at that.
Yeah, incredible. Absolutely incredible. One day we'll see it in person. Whether they like it or not.
How do you feel about neodacias? Because I love them.
Yeah,
personally. I think they're great. There are some issues that I have seen firsthand. When I worked at the nature center, we had a cane break in one, and we had a padlock because there's a hole that goes through the glass into the outer lip of the neodacia that keeps those things together and locked from moving.
Right.
And that padlock, what's the little stem part called in a lock? Is there an actual
it's the stem, right?
Stem? I don't know.
Yeah.
But basically that was a little thicker than it should have been. And my boss at the time went to go unlock that thing, cane break inside, and it's tempered glass, and he torqued it just a little bit. Like he barely did it, man. Dude. Glass. It was like someone just chucked like a grenade in there, dude. It just went everywhere. I mean, exploded outwards.
Wow.
Unfortunately, cane break didn't move. Cane break just, got pissed and started doing its thing. But seeing that, when I got neodacias to keep my venomous stuff when I had it, I was like, let me use a lock that's a little slimmer.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have to worry about that. But
so for those listening, that's a great story, because that sums up a lot of pros and cons for those enclosures. And neodacia,
it fit. So it did actually fit. It just, there was no real room to be able to manipulate the lock to get it to where you can unlock it and pull it out smoothly. It was snug. It was
So what Smitty's describing right now. So neodacia is no longer in business. They're an older plastic enclosure that had one giant sliding pane of glass. Originally, neodacias were triangular in shape, and they went on a neodacia rack. Now, if you didn't have that rack, they were kind of a pain in the ass, because you had to put them on some kind of shelving where the front of the enclosure actually hung off the front of the shelf, because the track lip that was there, it was deeper down. It was longer than the base of the enclosure. And like I said, they were a triangle. So picture a isosceles triangle where the short side is your glass. There you go. And there's the rack that they went on. So
that was my other sort of main complaint, is like, if you have them sitting on a flat surface like this, they're kind of angled back.
Yeah. Yeah, they're on like
they're almost
incline.
lifted on the front. Yeah,
they are, and
a little bit, not a lot, but enough to be irritating.
Yeah, that lip would dry rot and crack. It cracked real bad.
It's thin.
It's very thin. So this one big pane of glass, you'd slide it left or slide it right, and you could slide it 4 inches and just sneak the snake out, or you could slide it all the way open and open the entire 3-foot enclosure or 2-foot enclosure. If you had them on the special neodacia made rack, man, they were awesome, especially because they were on wheels and you could wheel them around. They were great. I don't think I ever worked with one where the glass wasn't cracked because of the lock that Smitty was talking about. And it was normally just like a brief spider web around the hole where the lock went on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just an inherent design flaw.
Yeah.
And I feel like because of the fact that no one kept them correctly with the right size lock on the right baker's rack, they were always fucked up. And that's what really ruined it for me.
I will say too, there was a very large difference between having the ones that had the dam and having the ones that didn't.
Oh yeah,
I had both, and
yeah,
Jesus, the difference that little lip right here makes on the inside of the glass there.
yeah.
So that's I guess the other main pain point with these is like if you didn't have that dam and you were keeping on cypress mulch or really any like loose substrate, that track was getting all kinds of filled up with that crap. And
well, we used to
keep in a pinch and you're having to like put something back and do it semi quickly. Like if that thing ain't clear, it's not happening.
Right. And then even all right, and Smitty's talking about a safety reason, right? Smitty's talking about mulch went into the track and now you physically can't close the door because there's dirt and crap in there. I would have it worse where the snake was cooperative, but every time you opened the cage, substrate would fall on the floor. And so at one point, like
when I had that issue,
because there was no substrate dam. Every single time I would take the enclosure or take the trash can for actual garbage, and I would slide it underneath the cage, and I'd open the cage that way because at least a cup or 2 cups of mulch was getting pushed out onto the floor, and it's just more mess I'd have to clean up.
Yeah.
So.
And they also made these styles. I don't know that did people have to use these for Venomous. I don't. You don't see these as much as you did the single pane.
So see those ones in the middle right there that are next to each other? They're like kind of like arboreal looking.
These ones?
Yeah. So Underground had a mess of those.
Yeah.
They were fantastic for Boiga. I paired Dendrophilia in those things and got eggs. Like, dude, those things were absolutely awesome for Boiga because you can cover the front pane with a piece of newspaper and the snake's just vibing, just chilling, just like it's safe, secure. We used to get the wicker
guys like them too.
Yeah, we used to get the wicker zebra finch nests from like Petco and like cut the top off, throw it in there and just throw in some live fuzzies, dude, and Boiga would go nuts in there. But again, it was species specific. I would never put Trimerceris in there. I would never put a cobra in there because you have to open the whole door and there's no way to close it quick and there's no way to only crack it a little bit. You know what I mean?
So granted, my Venomous keeping experience is not nearly as voluptuous as Phil's, or a lot of people for that matter. But I mean, I loved these. I mean, granted, I was just keeping native stuff, so it wasn't, I wasn't keeping anything super chaotic or anything, even though that Atrox did have its moments. But I loved these because, like, if I'm have the hide and stuff, and the Atrox is hanging out over here, and I've got the water bowl down here, I can just crack it open halfway, go in with some tongs, pull that water bowl, do what I need to do. Or if I have to take the Atrox out, bucket it, all that good stuff, do what I need to do cleaning wise, then I can close most of this 2/3 of the way, get that Atrox in there, and then fully close it and have kind of like a guard in a way to where it's like he's not going to come shooting out the other side or anything like that, like we were talking about with some of the full opening fronts like these guys. But I also like the fact that the ventilation in the top, at least in mine, I don't know if it was a standard thing or not with them, was double meshed, and then it was also like layered in between, like the I don't know, the panes of that plastic that they used. I don't know, just in terms of like the simplicity
was
of
it
the
like
design.
plastic rivets? I don't remember.
No, so I think there was like two pieces and they were like epoxy. Like there's the inside
Okay.
shell and then there's the outside shell. And I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, those ventilation areas, that wire was in between those two layers. So it wasn't
Yeah.
like that could be removed without literally having to cut it out. Um, they had a couple different size options. Like they had these big ones, and I know Willie at Serpent Center, he has some of these older large ones that he uses for some of his Bushmasters and stuff, and they work great for that. Are they a great general option? I don't really think so. Again, the context I think matters. Like for small rattlesnakes and copperheads and things like that, they were perfect. They were great. They did exactly what I needed them to do. Would it be something I'd be super stoked to be keeping something fast and flighty and stuff in? Probably not my first choice.
Yeah, I would concur.
But overall, in terms of like if you're keeping North American stuff, that's for the most part fairly easygoing and not a complete pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I thought they worked great. I loved them, and I still love them. And if I was going to be getting back into keeping Venomous, I would be trying to find more of these. They'd be secondhand because again, New Dish has been gone for a while, but you can still find some of these on some of the forums and stuff. And someone was selling a rack with some of these for like $800 or $900 recently.
Wow.
One of the groups. It's actually a pretty good deal. But I never had any of the ones that had like the main single ventilation window. The only ones I had only had the two smaller ones on the top, like these. But I just my main thing was just having the single pane, single glass. Like didn't have to worry about doors or any of that stuff. It was when it was closed, it was very obviously closed. When it was locked, it was very obviously locked. Like there's not a lot of moving parts, which was what I appreciated the most out of it.
Mm-hmm. I will say this. I think because the enclosures that I worked with were not mine, and because they were mistreated over the years by people who just didn't appreciate it or didn't care because it wasn't their personal property. I think that gave me a bad taste because they were always cracked, or the glass was cracked, or the lock hole on one side was gone because they couldn't get the lock off. So they just bolt cutter, snap the plastic. And I feel like that kind of turned me off from them. But I do feel like anyone training, if they have that, they should definitely learn how to work with it, because it is much more difficult and more challenging than many other enclosures that we have now as we progress.
Mm-hmm. What about Visions? I feel like Visions became the standard for a very long time.
Oh yeah, I'm a Vision guy.
We've talked over the years here about some of the the gripes you've had with them.
Yes.
But for the most part, I mean, you see guys like Al Quartz that keep almost everything in Visions, and seems to do okay. Like, where are you still? Do you ever see yourself not using Visions for Venomous stuff?
Yes and no. So my 4-footers that have Drymarchon in them and Cobras in them, 3-footers that have Cobras in them and Wrinkles and adult puffs, like I'm not going to get black boxes for those because they're really big and clunky, but they're great because they're all one solid piece. And although I love black box, I don't think for what I do, having a 5 or 6 foot black box would be conducive for my animals. Not saying that it wouldn't be the greatest 5 foot or 6 foot cage I ever used. It probably would be. I'll bet my room on that. But a 5 foot or 6 foot Vision that is one giant solid piece of fairly lightweight plastic that I can lift with one arm empty bring it outside and hose it off in the yard with drain holes is fantastic, especially if you're using for big constrictors like retics or berms or scrubs or large red tail boas. The screened vents in the back, they're riveted in with metal rivets. Like, as long as you put some vegetable oil on there, make sure they don't rust, you're in business. They're completely stackable, because even for dome lights, because there's a recess in there where you lay the dome light in there, and now they're still stacked because the dome light is dipped down into the enclosure, which is also metal screened and riveted. So it's a brilliant design. Excuse me. It was state of the art for the time. Is it necessary now? No. Is it still something great for Venomous? Absolutely. However, they have a lot of flaws. And in my opinion, nowhere near as many flaws as a exo style glass enclosure. But the first big flaw is the glass itself needs to be cut perfect if it's replaced. Because if it's not, then it's not going to slide in the track nice, and you're going to have a massive gap for a snake to slither in between the two panes. And that is super dangerous with elapids and smaller vipers. They're just going to slither right through. And unless you do some kind of weather stripping on there, which I have on 3-foot visions, it's almost not worth it. That's why I really encourage people, if you are getting replacement glass for your vision cage, get a set of calipers, measure the glass that's there, and get exactly the right thickness of glass for that size enclosure. The glass is also, the tracks for the glass is molded into the cage. Because remember, it's just one giant solid piece of plastic, right? And they put this aluminum track in there, and it's screwed in with screws. Those screws are sharp, pointed on the inside. Now, I've never had a snake slither up onto that ledge and get cut unless the human was pulling it out. And I've seen it where a snake went up into the lip of the top of the cage. We call it the lip of death. The snake goes up there. You try and get it out. You're pulling. The snake's pulling. It wraps its pectoral scales around a screw, and boom, you just tore its guts open. So there is a particular set of techniques used for extraction of Venomous with a vision lip in play, if that makes sense.
I'm trying to pull up a picture so we can extrapolate. You can continue what you were.
So like I said, vision cages are amazing. They're one giant solid piece of plastic with a sliding glass front. They're fantastic, and they were the staple for Venomous because they were stackable and they're escape proof, providing you set them up right. It also can use a jewelry display case lock or a retail display case lock where you have a key lock that slides on the glass. That was state of the art, man. Nobody had that. So now if you have a retail space, you can lock the cage and nobody's going to just open it and get spat in the face by a cobra. However, like we talked about, you can walk over and just lift the glass with your hands, even if the lock's on there, and pop the whole pane of glass off. So to counteract that, we would buy wooden dowels, and we would slide the wooden dowel deep into the top of the track so you physically could not lift the glass out. It was physically impossible without breaking the track in some way. So you ask, well, how do you get the glass off then? You would unlock the glass, slide it to one side, and then slowly shimmy out the wooden dowel. Mind you, the snake's already been removed from the enclosure, and then the pane of glass would come off. Not the brightest thing, but it made it so that a normal retail customer, you would see them trying to lift the glass before anything bad really happened. Another issue that they have is they bow because they're plastic, and they bow over time. They bow on the top downward and on the floor up. They bow concave and convex at the same time. I've never had it be a problem. I've never had it. I mean, I've been using vision cages over 20 years, and I've never had that flexing been a problem, other than it being marginally unsightly when you have several stacked together, because there's a gap in the middle. There's like a little dead space in between. Again, not a real problem, but it does happen because it's plastic and it's going to bow. Another really, really dangerous issue is, in a private collection, it's not that big a deal. In a retail space or a pet shop space, it can be very dangerous. Those recesses, is there any way you can zoom in on the heat dome, heat lamp recess, Smitty? Brandon Valentine, how do we feel about grow tents? Ha 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 ha. I would not recommend them for venomous reptiles. All right. So Smitty's cursor is now showing us the dome recess. Basically, this is a cubby molded coming down from the roof of the enclosure to hold and or hide a heat lamp inside it. And the bottom of it is like stainless steel grill that is riveted into the plastic. What happens is you have a heat lamp that's probably too hot for that enclosure, and it's not perfectly level and center, and it melts the plastic. And it melts the plastic, and it melts the plastic. And now you have a hole in the plastic that you didn't know was there. And now the timer goes off, the lights are off for the night, the plastic cools, and now there's a giant hole in the enclosure, and the mamba just slithers itself out. So that's a great shot right there, showing you the recess of the dome. So can you find a picture of a melted dome? I guarantee you there's one on Google. I mean, shit, I think I've got one upstairs where I caught it in time, and it's deformed, but it's not burned through. Now, if you guys notice in this photo, there's a screen in the middle that's recessed for a fluorescent light strip for UV. There's also a grill on the back. Some of the vision cages, they didn't have a screen on the top. It was only on the back, and it was at an angle. And you're like, well, how am I supposed to put a strip light on the back? Like, it's just going to slide off. It's like a ramp. So what we used to do is we used to take screws. We used to screw into the screen and make little foot caddies to hold the fluorescent light on the back of the screen. So you kind of had to have a little ingenuity when you use visions.
I'm not seeing anything for like a melted one.
Oh, let me see if I can find one while you show some more pictures. Because I may even have my own picture.
Yeah, I've seen pictures on Facebook and stuff, but
yeah.
But the lip that we also mentioned, I think this is a model that has it. You can say for sure or not, Phil, but
oh yeah, that 1000% has it.
That lip, there's a ledge right behind this section right here. And that's where, of course, stuff likes to go and hang out the most. And so there's been numerous times where people have gone in to get a water bowl, do whatever. And, homie snake is chilling out right here on this ledge, and people get tagged.
Yeah, we call it death from above.
Yeah.
Keeping that photo up, one of the first things I couldn't find a picture, but one of the first things we teach in using Venomous with visions is first you identify where the snake is. You locate the animal. So let's say we see the animal and we know it's not in the lip. Well, then who cares? Because we know it's not in the lip. If you can't find it, you automatically assume it's in that lip. And it's usually on the top. For whatever reason, doesn't matter the species, rattlesnakes, cobras, whatever. They love going up in that vision lip for whatever reason. So we would first use the hook or tools to open the glass. And then using a hook, we would hook the front top of that lip and then slide the actual pointed tip of the hook across the lid and try and see if we can feel for a snake or feel for resistance. And at that point, now the cobra's like, whoa, what the hell was that? And it hoods up and jumps down. The rattlesnake starts buzzing or what have you. But we would always use a tool to feel around the top of that lip and see if the animal's there. If the animal is there, we would gently coax it to come down or fall off the ledge, whatever, and then remove the animal with the appropriate tools. I have seen many people forget about that lip, and that's something you just can't do with vision cages. You cannot forget about that lip because it will get you killed.
Did they ever update it to where it didn't have that?
I think they did.
I see a couple.
Yeah, what they wound up doing was instead
like
of
this
using,
one.
yeah, that one there doesn't have a lip. I have one that like that. Oh, that cage right there. I have 3 of those, and that's what I have wrinkles in, and there's no lip. Actually, one of those is what the Tannenbar was living in. So
Nice.
that's a good one. And then at the same time, if you're using a 4 foot, 5 foot, 6 foot vision, the animal that you're keeping in there is so big that it's probably not going to fit in that lip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was another one. Like Al Quartz had posted some videos over the years where he's like, "Man, I can't find this snake. I wonder where it could be." And you see a little face just looking down from the corner.
Oh yeah,
that lip is hanging out, just waiting.
Here, let me see if we can find a picture of a snake hanging from vision lip. Okay, snake hanging from vision cage lip. Oh man, this is not going to be helpful. Man, I swear, if we'd asked Google this 15 years ago, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, look at all these photos," you know. But not today. So, and vision cages are expensive for one reason only. They hold their value. You know, I may buy a used vision cage off Craigslist for $200, and when I'm done with it in 3-4 years, I'm going to sell it for $200. You know what I mean? I don't think I've ever lost money on a vision cage because they are desirable and they do last for freaking ever. But like I said, it's not a black box. It'll never be a black box. And I'm very excited to get more black boxes and slowly start to not phase out my visions, but I've probably got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've probably got 5 or 6 visions that are empty right now because I put those animals in black box. And like, I'm not going to get rid of the visions because you never know when you need an extra cage. But dude, a black box slider, man, dude, they knock it out of the park. Just knocked it out of the park. Looks like Scott sent us another photo.
He did. I'm pulling it up. Let's see here. Oh yeah. Yep, look at him peering around there.
Oh, is that a vision picture?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, it looks like Scott sent me something too. I hope it's the same photo because, sorry, Scott, it is not the same photo. It's very cool. Actually, that's from a little while ago and I missed it. My apologies, Scott. Oh, yeah. That's a death adder. Holy crapola. I didn't realize it was a devy. Nice. Very interesting.
He says, "Please come in."
Yeah. Yeah. Don't mind me. I'm just here for the scenery.
What a nerd.
So yeah, visions are a staple, man. But if I don't need them for one reason or another, I'm gonna go black box. For show.
What about good old fashioned aquariums?
There it is. There it is. I think aquariums are great, provided you join the 21st century and don't put bricks on top or textbooks. And
What if they're like
have,
really heavy books though, like Scott's books?
no. A aquarium should be used with appropriate cage clips and then another screen on top. I have seen where guys drilled holes through the aquarium reptile screen. You call it reptile screen? Would that be the correct term? Screen lid for an aquarium.
Screen top.
They got two screen tops of the same exact size, right? They line it up one on top of the other, and they zip tie them together. And then the bottom one goes on, and they cage clip that. I've even seen it where guys drilled hole through the glass with a glass drill bit, and they put in those cable locks through the screen, through the glass, so that you physically couldn't lift the screen off the top, just because cage clips require you to put your hand really freaking close. I would say that I would never use cage clips on Venomous. Me personally, it's way too dangerous. Even with baby rattlesnakes or baby death adders or something tiny that's not going to necessarily lunge for your face. But I would go for a slider, and I have used sliders aquariums for Venomous. Never an elapid, always something terrestrial, always something short and stocky like a rattlesnake or something, because I can use hemostats to pop the tabs in the back and then use a snake hook to slide the lid off. Yeah, that'd be my MO. But I'm going to do everything on power to not do that.
I've seen people keep baby puffs in a 10-gallon, and they had just like a homemade wooden lid. And the way they kept that little door on top closed was a couple rubber bands around a eyelet.
Terrifying.
And they were a pet stop. It was a pet store locally.
Wow. That's crazy, man.
And then they kept bush vipers in. They put a 20-gallon on end. Same thing, homemade wooden lid with like 1/4-inch screen on the back for ventilation, and they just turned the lid screen side towards like the wall. But someone could still, a little kid could have totally 1000% just reached back there and gotten nailed. Like,
Jesus.
Oh my God, dude. It's bad. So bad.
That's rough, man. It's rough.
It's some flea market bullshit.
Yep. One thing I did keep juvenile snakes in for a while was Exoterra's breeder boxes.
Oh yeah, those are like the critter keeper kind of deals.
Yeah, it's like a critter keeper on steroids. I would never use a critter keeper for any Venomous whatsoever. I don't care if it's a baby eyelash viper. I would never do it. But the Exoterra breeder boxes is really, really dense plastic, both the lid and the actual clear plastic tub type part, body vessel, whatever you want to call it. The little clear plastic doors that pop open on the Exoterra, they're very rigid and they're very, the clasp is very stiff, but they also don't pop open on a hinge. They slide to unlock. And that I had no problem using on terrestrial vipers. I kept my Fields vipers in those when they were babies. I've kept baby wrinkles in those, but because they're screen tops, I put those containers inside of another container for the baby wrinkles. And that other container was like a tub type container. But yeah, I think that if you have, let's say you got several baby montane rattlesnakes and you want to put those in breeder boxes and then stack those breeder boxes inside of like a black box cage, that'd be awesome. That'd be great. Just be extremely mindful that the whole top is ventilated and you will get bit through those vents.
Yeah,
without a doubt. Yeah. So don't think that I would just like leave it on a bookshelf. I always kept them in something else. And then very meticulous when you go to pick it up with your hands because you're in such close proximity.
If you are double containing things like that, where you have several of those smaller boxes in a bigger box, I'm assuming if you have multiple species in said box, you're labeling each individually. But if you have all the same species in one, are you just putting one label on the outside of the main box, or are you still keeping it individual?
So each because again, we're thinking of not just of ourselves, we're thinking of others. Each individual container is labeled with the quantity value of the specimen within, the scientific name, and the common name. And then on the outside of the larger vessel, whether it be another PVC enclosure or a bigger tub, then I have a list, the exact same thing on the outside of that container. I didn't like to put different, like I didn't have a tub with 4 different species in it. It would be a tub with one species. It may be 4 different animals in one tub,
Right.
but they're all the same species. That was just me. I was a little neurotic in that sense, but especially with the wrinkles and like spitting and, do I need glass? Do I need a face shield for this tub, but not that tub, but yeah, making sure that everything is properly labeled inside and out is a huge deal. So
I've actually really liked, with all the spiders and stuff, or at least most of them, having like the cabinet set up like we've talked about, where everything is like it's in its individual vials and containers and stuff, but it's in that in that black box cage. But I like that also just because it's now easier to maintain a general climate for all that stuff. And I mean, we're talking about stuff that's mostly tropical or desert, so there's the humidity itself is going to fluctuate because I'm misting some things more than others. So, the box itself is going to have its own sort of climate, and then the heat.
And you can have
it's really convenient to be able to keep stuff that has the similar requirements in one thing and not have to worry about individually heating all.
Absolutely.
It's been really, really nice for that, actually.
Yeah, you can have one black box cage that's all desert bugs, and then I have another one that's all tropical bugs. Put a Govee in each one, and now you can see what's working on the inside of that larger vessel. I was a big fan of, with the venomous snakes, of the outer tub being clear, because you don't know there may have been an escape in there. Not to bring up sore topic, but like you just had your centipede issue. You found that other centipede in the outer tub, right?
Yeah, but there wasn't a lid on it or anything. It was just like a catch cup, basically, a giant catch cup.
You gotta have a freaking lid.
It was too small. Like the sides of those tubs are like that, and it's like that. So it wasn't getting out, even if it wanted.
Well, regardless, let's say when I had the Fields Vipers in a tub within a tub, or I had the wrinkles, tub within a tub, the first thing I do is look before I open that outer tub, which is again shut and closed. Before I open the outer vessel, I visually look to see if anything is loose within that outer vessel. Then I open, and now I can go in, because I have seen it where I'm guilty of it. I wasn't paying attention. I had multiple baby cobras in deli cups inside of a bigger tub. I didn't look to see if anything was loose ahead of time, and I take the lid off and I go to reach in to grab the first deli, and boom, up pops a little hooded head. Now granted, again, it was within a cage in an escape proof room. Like, I'm not fretting, but I should have looked to see if there was any little black noodles slithering around loose inside that tub. So
yeah, I mean that's something I feel like doesn't really get discussed a whole lot, is like just making your life easier by making things more visible.
Yeah, for sure. Do you know what one of my favorite things to do with tubs is? I take a one of my air holes that I drilled into the lid of the tub. I take a zip tie, whatever color you want, cable tie, whatever you want to call it, and I zip tie it to be about maybe a 4-inch loop. Right, I've made a ring. Okay, I fold the ring and squeeze it real tight, and the side that doesn't have the little locking, what do you call that? The nub. The side that doesn't have the nub, I fish that through the bottom of the lid hole, so that when I pull on the top this way, the little locking nub is keeping it from coming through the hole. And now I've made a handle.
Yeah.
And now I can slide a hook through that loop. I can grab that loop with hemostats, or if I am brazen or in an emergency, I can use my hand. And now I'm not physically touching or hooking or grabbing or whatever the actual lid, but the zip tie little handles I've made.
Dude, it makes life so much easier. I did that. So when I had my first copperhead, very long time ago, I did that where I drilled 2 holes with a zip tie so that I could hook it out, like pull that hide out without having to go in there. And then I did the same thing with the Atrox with the little ABS hide I had. And it makes life so much easier to, because those ABS hides, especially like trying to pull one of those, like lift one of those out from the opening where they go in, where it's offset to the side, like the balance is all weird. It's almost always just going to fall off the hook and land upside down. And then you got a pissed off, snake hanging out in there, and it's chaos. And that little zip tie is it's a lifesaver.
Oh, for sure, man. And you know what? If it gets old and ratty, you cut it off and put a new one. Now, granted, it's not aesthetically pleasing, but it's not a vivarium to be aesthetically pleasing. It's a plastic enclosure to be sterile to the best of my ability, to be sterile in a laboratory aesthetic, if you will. And
what is aesthetically pleasing is having all your fingers.
That's true. That's very true. Or your life, or your life. So, yeah, I like you said, work smarter, not harder. One of my favorite things is the Venom Life Gear drawer puller. Dude, I use that tool on 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 15 enclosures. I use that drawer puller. And 4 of them are not drawers.
Mm-hmm.
So basically it is a snake hook that is a little longer, a little lighter, but instead of having a hook on the head, it has a little wedge of aluminum, like a little aluminum doorstop, little club. And I'm literally using it just to pull open drawers and slide open enclosures. I can also use it as a double hook if need be. I can use my primary hand with an actual snake hook to lift the animal slightly and manipulate it into a position for me to use 2 hooks, and then use the drawer puller as the back end, if you will. So it doesn't necessarily have to have too much control, but it's just a placeholder for the animal.
Yeah, an extra level of support.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
how do you have? What about racks? Like setting up racks for Venomous? Because there's the way that I've seen Pia and Cody do it, where they have like the bar that sits in a foot at the bottom of a camera rack, for instance.
Yeah.
And then that bar goes up and there's into a little eyelet, and you lock that, and so that then nothing can be pulled out because that bar is stopping it.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really, really simple and like good idea.
It is a great idea.
Again, like we're talking about aesthetics, but I feel like if you're keeping in a rack, aesthetics really probably aren't that big of a deal in the first place.
True.
If you're not doing that, I mean, what's the alternative? Like, what do you?
So I've got more than 2, but I've got 2 racks that I really use for Venomous. One is a V70 that has Transpecos copperheads, and then the other one is the rack that Sean made me. That's a Cambro rack, and currently is housing Cerastes. And the
one he made is the exception though, because he did.
He did something so cool, man. So cool. So I told Sean, because I'm a fucking weirdo, and he hooked it up so much. It's my favorite rack. It is. It's Cambro rack, but each individual rack has its own key lock. Each drawer, each tub has its own key lock. And although it is a pain in the ass because you physically have to key unlock each one, it is very good looking. There's no metal bar like blocking the view of the animal. And I only open what I want to open. I don't have to unlock everything just to take open one drawer. And the way that he did it is it's a spring-loaded detent that is like a bicycle lock key. And you turn the key from the top, and it's a spring-loaded detent that pops down. And all it's doing is that little detent is preventing the drawer from opening. And then when you unlock it, it pops up. To lock it, you simply just push it down with your finger, and that's it. Or I could use the back of a hook or whatever. Again, the anomaly, because Sean made me that rack custom, and dude, it's so cool. I love that rack. But on a V70, now you have a PVC rack with is it polyurethane or not? What are the drawers made of?
Probably. I don't know. It's like harder HDP.
That dense, HDP, I do not have a rack on that because I have Transpecos copperheads in there, and I'm fully confident they're not going to push the drawer open. However, I do have wood shims in 2 of the 4, so it's a 5 slot. The bottom one is empty as an emergency. 2 of the 4, I put wood shims because that pressure is enough to prevent all 4 from being drawn open, even with my drawer puller. But I don't want to shim all of them because then it's going to cause flex and it's going to open the back of the tub. And I don't want them slithering out the back, and I not know it. Now I have seen people that wanted to lock it where they either epoxied on an extra piece of plastic to the front of the tub and then put a padlock through that, or they just drilled through the top of the shelf through the tub and padlock those together. And I think the reason for the epoxy was that you didn't have to get as close to, or your lock didn't have to be as long to hook through. And that's worked really, really well for people. But I know a lot of people don't like it because now you have 4 or 5 freaking padlocks and you got to unlock all of them and which key is which and whatever. The bar seems to be the winner. It really does.
Yeah.
So, but to each their own. Like I said, I bought that V70, excuse me, specifically for adult Bitis. And I kept rhinos and puffs in there, adults, and I wound up getting those animals out of there because there's just not enough airflow. But they wound up being perfect for the copperheads. I'm using aspen and a shitload of air holes, and dude, they're loving it. So it works for them.
Yeah, I feel like if there's any rack/tub combination that could probably really use like a computer fan setup of some sort or some way to circulate air through the different levels, it's going to be a 70.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like I remember having to reset a probe or something in mine, and dude, it was like I couldn't even touch the back.
Yeah, I can't touch the back. You're so much taller than me, and you have such a larger wingspan. I can't reach the back of mine.
And that's why, like, when Black Box started doing those little removable windows to the backs of those, like, it was just such a no-brainer to me. It's like, how come no one's done this before? Because it makes complete sense. It solves that problem, like, and it's so simple, you know.
And you know what? It would be a great. Honestly, it would be if how do I phrase this? If anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Black Box. The locking mechanism, the pin lock, whatever you want to call it, that Black Box uses on my sliders for Venomous, if they could machine that into the shelf of a V70, then all you'd have to do is drill a pilot hole in the tub and the lock would go through. I think I'm going to have them do that.
Yeah.
Dude, because that is because basically those locks is basically like a hockey puck. If you could machine a little pocket and then glue in the hockey puck, right, and then drill a hole in the tub handle, then the key would go straight through both and be done
into the handle.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great idea. Maybe have them do that on something that's not so deep. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
Now I will say this: I've got 2, 4, 6, 8. I've got probably 20. What are they? 15 quart tubs would be neonate. Does that sound right?
Maybe. How
no, those are 18 quarts. I have the geckos in. I have geckos in it. It's a 6 slot and they're 18 quart. I know that. No, these are like 12 by 5 by 5. That would be like 15 quart, maybe 12 quart.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Somewhere like that. I have 20 of those waiting in case I produce like subox or something. I don't know, or baby puff adders or something. I don't know. They're there in case I need them. And if I do produce something like wrinkles or puffs or cerastes or whatever, I'm going to have to figure out how to lock those because they're so small. You can't do, I don't think you could do the pin thing, the detent thing like Sean made.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to do a rod. I'm going to have to, you know, and then the question is, how far out can you make that rod and still have shims so they don't push the drawer open? Because just because the rod's there, the rod is so human. Yeah, the rod is so a human doesn't open
Keep
it.
somebody else from opening it.
Exactly. But I would still want some kind of shim to close the gap so the snake couldn't escape out the front gap, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry if I'm rambling in my mind. Just got the gears turned tonight, Smitty.
That's why we need guys like Clint that with the engineer brains.
Oh yeah. For sure.
Like I can put an idea to paper. I couldn't tell you how on earth to do it, but it's like I have this vision. Yeah. But I don't know how to do it.
Oh yeah, for sure, bro. For sure. Yeah, man. Dude, I still, that lock that they put on that thing is so cool, man. It's such a great idea. And like it's one key, it does all of them. It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, the master key thing would be a must for me if I was gonna have multiple locks like that. Like I ain't about to be like a fucking janitor with a giant key ring with 50 fucking keys on it.
Well, and so like right now, so when I had all visions, I would do my damnedest to get uniform locks, right? And most vision guys, most people that kept vision cages, you would go to Home Depot or Amazon, whatever, and you'd order, 10 of the number 22, and they all have the same key. So now I've got, oh God, I'd say half the visions are one key, the other half are another key, and then all the black boxes are the same key. And like, so I've got 3 keys, not the end of the world, and they're different look. Yeah, they're different looking keys. But dude, when I was underground in the retail store, dude, like God bless underground, man. They're wonderful, but they would send a kid to Home Depot, like, hey man, here's a lock, like the whole unit. Like, here, go to Home Depot, give me like 6 of these. Okay, cool. But they wouldn't tell the kid, hey, get a number 22. So the kid would come back with 6 different locks. And it's like, dude, what is this? And meanwhile, they're not thinking. So they just start putting them on cages. And now you have no idea what key went to what, let alone you can't return them because you put them on the cages. You know what I mean? Yep. So again, in a private collection, it's a lot easier because most people would think like that to a certain degree. But you live and learn,
Yeah. I feel like we covered most of it. I don't know that there's really anything
we did, man. We did. Sorry, I was rambling for 2 hours. Ugh. I just, going back to the original thought though, map out your room in your mind, get an idea what you want to do, try and make the room as escape-proof as possible. If it has to be your bedroom, I understand, but try and make it not your bedroom just because you don't want to constantly have to be going in and out, in and out, in and out. The door's open, the door's not open. Oh no, I'm late to work. You run out of the room late to work, and now you just left the door open all day. And God forbid something happens. You know what I mean? A storm comes and the coconut goes through your window, and now you got a problem, and you're not there to save it or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, and labeling. Not even anytime when I had stuff labeled, it was 1000% like, okay, EMS or fire has to come in here for whatever reason. Like, I want to make sure they know.
Yeah.
That they can look and see, okay, there's whether they can, they read the whole label or not, just something that, that says like, there's a venomous reptile in here.
Yeah. Florida law says that every enclosure and the room door must say the words, and I quote, danger venomous reptile. I think it's a great law.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great law.
I mean, it makes sense. And like, what's the cost of signs and labels now? Like, even if you don't get Cloud Forest, fancy labels, but
and let me chime in and just say, like, selfless plug, Cloud Forest Design, our good buddy Matt
Marcy.
I spent hours. No, nay, I spent days scouring the internet, getting all the appropriate antivenoms for his antivenom series. And he and I designed this anti-venom label for the venomous species on the website. So let's say you want a puff adder label. You go to Cloud Forest Design, you go to Venomous Snakes, you find puff adder. There's going to be 2 labels there. One of them is going to be like a reddish brick color. It's going to have a map of Africa. It's going to have a picture of a puff adder, and it's going to have some fun facts about the animal. Then you click the drop down that says anti-venom label. It's going to be a black background. And instead of having the fun facts, it's going to say in red letters, danger venomous reptile, and then have the current antivenoms available in the United States for Bitis areatans. It's the same price, you know? So you might as well just buy that. And most of us that have them, we Velcro back it. So God forbid there's a problem, you can peel it off and take it with you to the hospital, to your buddy's house, whatever. I also love using the Velcro because if I'm pairing a snake, now I have 2 venomous snakes in the same enclosure. Now I rip it off the boys. Right. I can rip the boys off and stick it also on the girl's cage or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, and I've seen people that even for harmless stuff, they do the same thing for pairing. You know, they have they'll take a Sharpie marker and they'll write the serial number of that particular sire and move that Cloud Forest label, or in case of Billy Hunt, he has a key ring system, you know, and Billy Hunt moves his key ring from one enclosure to the next, and he knows what's what. You know, Cody and Pia had QR codes, and they can QR code what snakes in what enclosure that way. So,
yeah.
But
I think if your handwriting sucks like mine, those labels are worth the money.
Yeah.
And if you don't do those, then you just do something else that requires you to handwrite the labels. Like if you don't have good handwriting, get somebody that does. Like if I was going to do it, I'd have Katie do it because her handwriting is infinitely better than mine. My handwriting has not changed since like the 5th grade, dude.
Yeah. I've had animals when I was doing apprenticeships for hours. I think we were at Zach's house. I was at my buddy Zach's house, and we would do a lot of hours at his house with people. And he had 2 snakes that just lived in that vision lip. And he took blue painter's tape or masking tape, and he stuck masking tape on the glass. And it said, check lip, ! So even if people didn't know what that meant, and they're like, check my lip. Why would I check my lip? No, if people didn't know what that meant, it made them think. And they'd ask, what the hell does that mean? You can do that for yourself too. You know, leave yourself reminders. I had Echis leucogaster, white-bellied sawscale viper. Sorry, Jeff Frederick. I had Echis leucogaster in a weird tub. I ordered it online and I got the wrong one, and I was like, screw it, I'll make it work. But the way that the handles were on the little latches on the top, where you put your hands, there were holes. And those sawscale vipers would just sit on that fucking hole. So the first time I ever saw it, I was like, whoa, what the hell? I took a big fat Sharpie marker and I drew a big arrow and I put hand here. And I just Sharpie markered it on the top of the lid on one corner and the top of the lid on another corner. And that was just to condition myself. Don't grab where you're supposed to put your hands is not where you're supposed to put your hands for this animal. And dude, I wound up getting rid of those tubs because it was just a pain in the ass with that. And they wouldn't stack. And anyway, there was those Sterilites that had the green plastic lid. You know what I'm talking about? They weren't for food. They were for like in your garage.
Yeah.
They weren't gasket.
Storage.
Yeah, storage ones, but it was a clear bottom with a green lid. And again, I ordered the wrong one. They showed up, and I went up to Sharpie marking with an arrow, put hands here, because dude, I'm not gonna make that mistake. I'm not gonna have my fucking flesh melt off because I grabbed where I was supposed to, you know. So I digress. But
cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And big ups to Jake. I don't know if it's public knowledge or if he's saving it for show, but he just did a little Arizona Vivaria for one of his new critters. And I'll leave the critter, let him tell about the critter. But dude, it just goes to show you that there's a lot of options out there for decor and still keeping it quasi sterile and backgrounds. And you can keep snakes aesthetically pleasing and it not have to be sterile, even though you're going to be hands off with the animal. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sorry if it came out a little blotchy, but yeah.
No, he did good with it. It looks good.
Yeah. So good stuff.
Well, this episode was brought to you by FulviusApparel.com. Hats, shirts, maybe not hoodies, but hoodies soon. In situ line now available. Nice UPF UV protection shirts, hooded, long sleeve, polyester. Wore mine when we were out in Francis Marion. Put them through their paces, walking burns and walking through really thick scrub and stuff, trying to get it to like, snag and rip and stuff, and it didn't. It actually held up really well. So,
did you wade through like stickers?
Yeah, I got caught by some thorny bullshit a couple times.
Yeah, I'm saying, but like the hitchhikers, did they stick to it or no?
Oh, not like those. We don't really get anything that goes above like your ankle with those here. Okay. I don't know. We don't have like bushes of that, but
okay.
It held up. It did well. It's comfortable. Going to be adding more options there soon.
Nice.
Within the next couple days here soon. New Cerberus design is up. New Lepidus design is up.
Nice. I'm going to look right now.
Some hat options as far as like the Willardy and Georgia Horridus and some other stuff added as well for patches and whatnot.
Excellent.
Definitely more to come. It's just those mock-ups take the most time to put together, so that's why it's
boy, look at this Serb.
Yeah,
look at that Serb boy, looking good as hell, man.
I really enjoy those. Like I really want to do like every rattlesnake species at some point, even Mexican stuff.
Look at this fine specimen of art. Look at this. It won't let me zoom in, but I'm going to hold it close.
Yeah, somebody bought a black t-shirt today with that on it.
Hell yeah. If someone sends in a special request of a pattern you already have, can you put it on an in situ style shirt?
Yeah.
Or no? Okay, cool. So if someone says, I want the arachnid logo, you can do it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I did one for Sanchez. Sanchez wanted the Georgia Horridus on an in situ shirt, and I did that.
Hell yeah.
It's not a problem. It's just if that is something that you are wanting to do, definitely message me because I'm not going to go back through and do in situ for every design that I already have because that would take me forever. So if there is a specific one that you want on an in situ shirt, just message me or email me or whatever, and I will make it happen. It's not a problem.
Hell yeah. Love
it's no more difficult than anything else. So
excellent.
Check that out. Use the code THN at checkout. It's 15% off your order just for you, lovely listeners. People use it, which tells me you're listening, which means I appreciate you. And then blackboxcages.com. Racks cages. You need it. They got it. You will not be disappointed. Everyone that I've talked to that got a black box after not having a black box was like, dude, these are incredible. Multiple people have told me that. Phil knows. I know. Jake knows. The gang knows. They are good cages.
And dude, I'm finally coming on multi-year with mine. Like how many? It been 3 years now on a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, they still like. I take. I have a like alcohol wipe. Dude, it looks new.
Yep,
it's crazy.
I still have a BioG sitting right here. I have my minnow tag on it. Need to figure out something to do with it at some point.
Oh. Yeah. But one thing I will say that was brilliant on Black Box's part, just real quick, because we're on Black Box sponsorship, whatnot. When I got my cubes for Venomous, Jen asked me, do you want covers for the screen? And I've got covers that fit. I don't use them because I want the airflow, but I've got covers that fit on each freaking screen so that if I do decide to put a Cobra or something in there, there's still airflow, but if you lean on it, like I said, there's no way you could get bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah. Good people, good products. Check them out. And Cold-Blooded Caffeine, the best coffee money can buy. Snakes and Stogies blend, as well as many others. Go shop around, check it out. We're biased, get ours. But whatever you decide to get, you will enjoy because it's good coffee made with love. And then Scott just said, how about the rediscovery of the Hemakatus?
I don't. They found a Zimbabwe one? Because if they did, it's news to me. I'm a little out of the game. I'm gonna have to do some Googling.
Phil ain't even on the gram anymore. He's there.
Oh man. I need to rekindle and get back into it. I know.
You ain't been missing much.
It's all right. We're still here. Still kicking.
Yeah.
Still snaking it up.
So we're supposed to be back this week for Flippin' 10 to talk about our Francis Marion trip. That's supposed to be happening Thursday. Hopefully it does. So be on the lookout for that because that will be live. And then who knows what's going to happen? I know we got Arachners. We got to make that happen again here soon. If you listen to that last episode, it was interesting. It was an episode.
Okay.
It's about roaches, feeder roaches.
Still cool.
And a lot of talk about chickens. It was interesting.
Okay.
It was an episode. Scott said it was found via INAT.
Okay. We're going right now. That's it. That's all he had to say. We don't have to press stop yet. We can stay live.
He says, I hate it a little bit.
He hates it a little bit because it's ugly, or he hates it a little bit because they found it. Okay. Searching. Oh, God. Why did I do that? All right. Organisms. Hemakatus. Oh, my God. Niangensis is on iNaturalist. Here we go. Here we go. Let's see if they really found the booger. Redo search in map area. Pooh, girl. Right on the... Oh, now there's 2 dots? 2 dots, you say? What do we got here? Son of a bitch, they found it. There goes the neighborhood. Wow. That is legitimately it. That's incredible. They say who found it? What is this? D. Holton Smith. Okay. Interesting. Who found this one? Same guy. Yeah, man. They found it. It's obscured for obvious reasons. 40 centimeters. Wolfgang Wooster confirms.
Wow.
Fucking hell, man.
He bought a Cape Cobra shirt a while back.
I remember the Navia for men.
Yeah. Just cracked me up because I saw his name pop up. I'm like, no way.
Man.
The Wooster.
Fantastic. The fucking thing lives. Dude, and like anybody who knows, like, that area is, it looks like it's probably 50 or 80 miles north of Mutar. Wow, that's awesome. Well, time to buy some plane tickets. Very cool, Scott. Thanks so much. That's awesome. have to go make
Scott,
some
you
notes.
nerd.
Yeah, fuck me up. Now I got to change all my fucking research.
Damn it.
Very cool, man. Very cool.
Oh, someone posted a white cow king, but you can't really tell it's a king. I got excited and thought it was a McGregor eye for a second. False alarm.
Wow, man. And this guy found it this month. It's April 2026. Where's the date? It just says April.
Just a couple days ago then, because
Yeah.
we're only
A week or two ago, whatever. Yeah. Wow, man. It's great looking. It almost looks like a diamondback water snake, but with a wrinkles head. Oh, God. It's got the blue scales underneath. Yeah, man. That is definitely it. That is definitely it.
Did I send you pictures of all the cottonmouths we found in Francis Marion?
You sent me a couple.
So many cottonmouths, dude.
Man, this snake honestly kind of looks dead. But it could just look like that. Yeah, the snake definitely looks not good. And they're both in like this muddy, wet area. Very interesting. Very interesting.
All right. Well, we'll see everybody later this week.
Yeah. Sorry, I got a little down the rabbit hole on that one.
Thank you all.
Bye.